I am so excited, delighted, and surprised actually they've decided to step into the Lion's Den. It's only creative director and reality TV supremo Alex Mavrodikis and equally, actually more brilliant executive producer Josie Steele.
Hello.
I genuinely appreciate you being here because we put up on the Love Island Instagram, have you got questions for the producers? And the first one that came in was, why is your willy so small? Which I think set the tone.
I saw one that literally said, why do you do this? I thought, that's deep.
Why do you make this show?
Yeah.
Both very fair questions.
But there was a lot of animated language, shall we say. People have really strong feelings. So let's dive right in. We'll get to the casting later. There's a lot of questions around casting.
Yeah.
But I guess the hot talking point this week has been Yana and Kai, her ex, coming in.
Yes.
Can you talk us through that process, how you found Kai, how you found out he was the ex, and what happens behind the screens when you're saying, is this okay? Are we going to look after Yana well enough?
Let's just start by saying, so Yana applied. That's what happened
Yes.
first of all. So,
Yep.
there was an application process. Lots of people apply. We looked through, everyone applies a video. We saw Yana and we're instantly like, oh my God, it's Sydney Plummer chick.
Yeah.
And she's hot, and she can talk, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
So she was an instant kind of someone we were interested in. They then do a questionnaire, and as part
So
of that
as part of the application, we ask people, we want to know what your type is, what kind of person you're into. Can you share like the Instagram handles of some of your exes?
Okay.
And genuinely, it's not a like follow up with people about their exes necessarily, unless we look them up and we're like, oh, they look cool as well. But she talked about Kai a lot in her application, and he looked interesting, and so we just reached out and asked if he would be interested in applying. So it wasn't like we were like, he definitely has to come on, she definitely has to come on. We just thought, interesting, let's just meet him and see if he's interesting as well.
And it was so current, they'd only just split up, and so then we met them both. That obviously, they had no idea each other were coming. I think Yana posted something on TikTok, so Kai may have had an idea that she was applying, but he certainly didn't know that she was going on.
Mm-mm.
So then we met her in person, and she spent 75% of her audition, I call it an audition, but really it's just a chat like this, talking about her ex-boyfriend Kai. We then met him the next day, I think it was, and he spent 75% of his time talking about his ex-girlfriend Yana.
Okay.
And they were both good chats in their own right.
Great
Like
chats.
they both could have made the show independently of each other, but it was just so compelling that they were still clearly
Completely
thinking
hung up
about
on
each other.
But then there's the consideration, the second part of your question.
Yeah.
So, we're not blind. I'm reading all the comments, and duty of care to Islanders is the absolute number one most important thing.
Yeah.
We have welfare producers, psychologists, doctors, nurses, executive producers. Like, you're literally safer in the Love Island Villa than you would be in any nightclub in Australia. You're so well looked after. Now, we have to make a judgment call. Can they handle this? It takes a rare sort of person to be filmed 24 hours a day. I did 11 seasons of Big Brother. This is my 7th season of Love Island. I think I can now identify, with the help of psychs, etc., the sort of personality type that has got what it takes to be filmed 24 hours a day. It is a full-on thing. Yana is a very, very, very robust human being, and we knew, that she was the personality type that can handle this sort of thing, and we know that she could go on to flourish after it. So I'm going to try and not, I won't do spoilers, but Monday's episode is key for Yana. So make sure you watch on Monday. But yes, look, we knew she could hack it. It's very full on at the moment, but she handles it amazingly well. And look, it's so noisy. I mean, you can see, I don't want to sound like, Mr. Producer Man here, but the noise on socials, the ratings that we're getting are bigger and noisier than we've ever had before. So it's clearly captured the,
Well, and I think so much of that is around like everybody can imagine what that feels like, because we've all got exes who we would hate to see macking on with someone else and sleep in the same bedroom. That doesn't come up a lot, but like everyone can kind of imagine what she's feeling, which I think is, I don't know, kind of cool.
We're also able to deep dive into their relationship, so we knew there was nothing, yucky in their past. Yeah, it was a toxic relationship in the sense that, they had both done things that they shouldn't have done, and they both said awful things to each other, but we knew that he essentially had done nothing terrible to her, and she had done nothing terrible to him. So you have to know that before you go ahead with something like this.
Kat Louise wants to know, you kind of mentioned it, Alex, wants to know about the welfare of Islanders. What supports are there? What happens, you mentioned, like there is psychologists, there's therapists, there's doctors. What happens if they want to get out of the villa for a break if they just come to one of you guys on the team and say, I just want to get out, I need a break, I need an hour?
The answer is no one's under arrest.
It is
Anyone
not
can leave
prison.
the villa
Yeah.
at any time. What generally happens is they come into the beach hut, they lie on the floor of the beach hut where they're not in the camera shot. One of our welfare people has a chat with them. You know, there are places you can be off camera.
Totally.
And you know, we would make a call as to, you know, whether it was needed. But you know, we're not awful people. I think people look at reality TV producers, and I get it. I completely get it. And they think that we're twiddling our moustaches, plotting the downfall of society. But we're not awful people, are we? Well, you're definitely not.
I mean,
Yeah,
your
you-
boots say
sometimes.
otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I am pretty awful. Josie is actually the loveliest human being in
Thank
the
you.
world.
No, we really genuinely care about them. So if they come to the beach hut and they say they need an hour, that's fine. Like, that's a place where no other islanders are allowed to go. When you're in there, it's a totally private space. You can be completely off camera if you need to be. So yeah, there are places they can go.
Okay, Meryl asked, what are the rules when they get there? Right, so someone gets cast, they're flown to Mallorca. What's like the talk they get before they go in, like the
Yeah.
conditions, the framework, the rules?
There's a very long rule document we won't go through, but there's basically rules for being an islander, and it's kind of all the same rules that would apply, A, in real life, not being a shit human, but B, like, you are in a workplace, essentially. So it's very much how you treat people, you know, what you can say and what you can't say. Just in terms of like no racism, no homophobia, like, you know, be respectful and responsible as a human is a big part of it.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, and you know, basically, if you hit anyone, you're gone. And like,
Totally.
they have a chat with me. It's kind of the last chat they have before they go in. It's called the last rites, and I tell them, and it's absolutely true. We will never tell you what to say. We will never tell you who to couple up with. We will never tell you who to kiss. We will never tell you who to dump, and that is absolutely 100% true. I think that makes them feel better. You know, don't go in there and self-censor. Of course, you can use all the awful swear words, and of course, you can tell the dirtiest sex stories you want. And of course, some of them won't make it to air because they can't. But it's important they don't go in there and self-censor. But as Josie says, if you go in there and you are awful to somebody, then you're out. Luckily, we've never had that in Love Island Australia.
Oh, what a
Everybody-
lie. I'd like to cast your mind back to season 1. Grant and Eden very famously came to blows. What happens in a situation, like the aftermath of that,
Yep.
they squared up. It looked like there was a punch thrown. It was some clever editing. Well done.
No.
But what happens in the aftermath of that?
Okay, well, first of all, let me take issue with you, Owen. They didn't come to blows. So thank God for Dom, who was a bomb that year and was
Okay.
about 6'7"
Yeah.
and saved the whole fucking series.
Okay,
frankly.
they ripped each other's shirts.
Absolutely, they
yeah.
did. And you know what? It was very, very, very borderline. It was two bull elephants, and we've got it in the villa at the moment with Cooper and Kai. You know, in the episode that we saw
Yeah, there's tension
tonight,
there.
It is tension, and when two bull elephants are, you know, close to each other, we will have security guards there. That's exactly what we had with Eden and Grant, who ran in and helped Dom defuse the situation. And thank God they did, because if a punch is thrown and connects, you're
It's
out.
over, yeah.
It's all over.
Yeah.
Male or female.
Which they all know in advance.
But, you know, that did get very, very, very close to the line, that one. I am a fat bastard, and I think that villa was about 400 metres away from the control room, and I reckon I ran that 400 metres in about 45 seconds, which is, you know, pretty much the world record.
Yeah.
So I arrived as a sweaty mass of blubber, got into them straight. I remember Grant and Taylor were upstairs in the bathroom, and, you know, very upset, and I went to him first. And then Eden and Erin were downstairs in the bedroom, and I went to them second. And then I got the two boys together, and I said, right, we're going to shake this out now. And you know, and it was one of those sort of things. They both apologised. We move on.
Yeah, okay. Kazi asked, do the Islanders have to get STD checks? Because, you know, as we've seen, things happen. Bits are touched.
Absolutely.
Fluids are exchanged occasionally. So that's a thing.
Absolutely. They get, it's in fact 2 rounds of STI checks. So they do one during their like initial, if they're in the kind of final round of casting, like once we think we want to put them in, they get a full medical check. And then they do another one literally the day before they fly to Spain. Because we want
Just
everyone...
in case they've had intervening naughtiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There might be a month in between those two things. And it's just because we want everybody to feel safe in that environment. Like, whatever you do, we want you to feel comfortable.
The only loophole is if they shag someone on the flight to Spain. We don't really have an answer for that. You know, that's the loophole.
True. It's
My money is on Callum, season 4. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
also a lot of people asked, what are the protocols? And I think other Islanders from different series have talked about this, but while you're here,
Yeah.
what are the protocols around bed sharing
Yeah.
and consent? I assume they get to talk about that.
A huge talk. So heaps of that last rites chat that Alex mentioned and the rules document that I mentioned is about consent, because it's so important. Like, it's so important that we want, again, everyone to feel safe and comfortable, and like, it's their house. You know, we want you to feel safe where you live.
Literally the worst thing that could happen on this show is someone gets out of bed in the middle of the night and goes, "I've just been touched and I didn't want it to happen." That is a disaster for mostly for them, for us, for everybody. Will never happen. We invented the consent hearts,
Yeah.
which Josie will talk about. They are fucking genius.
So we have a few things in place to make sure that consent is active at all times. So we have consent lights by the bed, which is basically if you can push a button that is on your side of the bed. You might see it in some of the night vision
So
shots.
if Josie and I are in bed together, I've got a button here, and you've got a button here, and there is a heart above our
And
head.
basically, if you want to do anything under the covers, you have to push that light first to basically let the producers know we're cool. You can leave us alone. If people start getting busy, God, I sound ancient. Without the lights on, a producer or someone will go into the room and tap them on the shoulder and say, "Hey, are you cool?"
And has happened, and it is mortifying.
It's mortifying. So,
mortifyingly embarrassing.
but so that what that means is everybody is constantly kind of just checking in, which is cool. Like, it's fine to say, like, "Hey, is this okay?" Like, and we encourage that. Like, we make sure they know that kind of continuing consent is really
I would
important.
also say, no one is ever drunk on Love Island.
Never.
And the crew are.
That was one of the questions. Do the Islanders, Brooke, I'll give her flowers. Brooke Zeri, I hope. Are the Islanders getting drunk?
No. So, first of all, people don't look as good when they're drunk, and Love Island's about people who look good. Second of all, and most importantly, people make stupid decisions when they're drunk. Now, we are so red hot on duty of care and consent. You know, it's like they get 2 units of alcohol a day.
1
unit of alcohol a day. Oh, well.
Well, it used to be
a bit of
1,
tea
and
here.
now we have. This year we had an alcohol sponsor,
Besser.
/Neft.
Hello, Besser.
Hello. And the cans that those drinks come in are like 2 standard drinks, which was like, we had heaps of meetings around whether that was going to be okay.
do they
Because
only
normally
drink
we
half
only
a
have
can?
one standard drink a day. So
Someone running around. Give me your can back.
genuinely
It's
like
halfway
pouring
done."
out half a can.
Yeah,
but
okay.
so they're never drunk. So that is the maximum alcohol they have in a day. Yeah.
They're never drunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes we give them non-alcoholic champagne without telling them, but
That's so
don't tell any
cruel.
of the
And
islanders.
it's extra fun when they pretend to be drunk.
Yeah.
Okay, let's quick fire through a lot of other questions that came in. There's a perception, rightly or wrongly, that if you are cast, that you want to be an OG. You want to be in the first lineup of Islanders that walks in. Do Islanders hustle you to get that position?
I actually say I've been hustled more to be a bomb, frankly. I mean,
Really?
you know, like
I think it's about 50-50. Some people come in and they're desperate to be an OG. Some people come in and they're like, I think I'm a bomb.
yeah. Gabby was, I want to be a bomb. Tamara was, I want to be a bomb.
Yeah.
We've had several people like that.
Yeah. I think that
Taylor from Taylor Reid from last year wanted to be a bomb.
Yeah, I get why people want to be OGs. It feels like, you know, you're the originals or whatever. But like, it's always an OG that goes first, often an OG that goes second, so it's risky.
And also look at our history. So season 2, Josh and Anna were both bombs.
Yep.
Season 3,
They won.
Season 3, Mitch was a bomb.
He won.
Season 4.
Claudia and Austin were both OGs,
Yeah,
but there were
season 5, Kale was a bomb.
Kale was a bomb.
So who the hell won 6?
Em and Mercedes.
Em and
Mercedes was a bomb.
Mercedes was a bomb.
Yeah, so
And
like
who knows who's going to win 7?
Yeah.
Watching Australia.
Yeah. But bombs do all right.
Yeah. Phoebe wants to know, do the Islanders have days off and what happens on those days?
Good question. So we do have what we call dark days, which is because the crew also need days off. They don't happen very often, but when they do, it's a full shutdown day. We basically take half the Islanders out of the villa and put them into hotel rooms.
Segregated boys, girls?
Segregated
Yeah,
boys, girls. So like girls will go out and go to a hotel and just sleep for 24 hours. They need it. They're exhausted. And then say the boys will stay in the villa and sleep for 24 hours and watch movies and stuff. It's pretty...
This also plays into the welfare thing.
Oh my God, yeah,
you
they're so
just
tired.
Cannot keep going. Like everyone needs a reset button, and us too. Like it nearly kills us making
Yeah.
the show. It is a really hard show to make because you live and breathe it, and you've got to be on all the time. you know?
And the Islanders are like... the drama as well as like the late nights and stuff, like they're exhausted. So yeah, they need those days to reset.